Welcome back to some professional StarCraft 2 from the AlphaX Brawlers Club. These two Koreans about to throw down for our entertainment. A man who knows what it is to make not having a plan look like the best plan in and of itself. Of course, the GSL Super Tournament champion. Stealing a victory from Dark and stealing my heart as well. It is Dragon Phoenix Gaming's Zest. Sending a probe across to his underdog opponent. I think we can agree here that this Zerg player competing for best of the rest. Not as well known as he could be, choosing quite a classy name, but has yet to take too many players to school himself. Nope, we're not looking at Zest Probe. We're looking at the Hatchery here. Thank you. It's Africa C2's the stream team's Armani. For those who don't know, Africa TV, not spelled how you think, is essentially Korean Twitch, and they sponsor a lot of both StarCraft 1 and 2 players, as well as events, because obvious reasons, as people enjoy StarCraft in Korea. Armani, honestly, I got nothing for you. This is his opportunity to make a splash. Beating Zest, no matter what the venue, may say more about Zest than his opponent, but it is definitely something worth noting, especially nowadays when Zest seems to just, despite his best efforts, keep winning. Just walking over Maru, undercutting Dark, and smashing Rogue. Okay, it wasn't really smashing, but it was a smashing play for sure. Armani should be small potatoes. But Zest does have a tendency to get even more creative in these marginally smaller tournaments. The online cups, like the Brawlers Club with all these great players. We'll see what he comes up with. So far, and if the Super Tournament Finals were any sort of indication, Void Race. Alright? That's the plan. It's Void Race. And then, now get this, follow closely. More Void Race. And then everything else, usually. It doesn't stop with the Void Race, usually. And then Disruptors, and DTs, and Charge Lots, and all of that. But the key part to start is the Void Race. And for Zerg players who aren't going to do some sort of super early cheese, most of the question is not if, but when the Queens will band together in March to protest the existence of Void Rays and hopefully effect change on the map before there are too many cannons and shield batteries to deal with. We'll have to see. Zest gets in, murders a drone, gets out clean. Not the first murder he's gotten away with, and it won't be the last. A Void Ray built. He actually built the Stargate right next to the third. I don't know if that's for spotting or if he was trying to hide it a little bit, but either way, it's hard to hide your Stargate when the Void Ray is busy popping an Overlord. An Oracle to follow it up. Just a solid scouting option, but I would not be 14124. The secret code is accepted and probably was to test whether there was lag and there may have been a pause. Or Armani is really just, he realized that Zest is a sleeper agent robot and he has now activated the code. And death comes for us all. Something like that. I'm not sure. But there is no response. Like, nobody else typed. So, that is... Okay, we're just gonna move on, I guess. Like, it never happened. Alright, moving on. So, I don't... Like, usually if there's a pause, even on a replay, if you don't see it, the other player will agree, like, ready to go. So, we're all just gonna gloss over the fact that Armani just put some numbers in the, like his Powerball number in the chat. Moving on, a real mind game here. Maybe I'm the only one who's stressed out by this. Zest may not have noticed. Meanwhile, the Oracle slips into the natural and, oh, come on, gets away despite the efforts of the queens. There was no spore because that was supposed to be the safe spot, the safe space for the drones, the natural. But Zest darts in, and then he gets out again. A serial murderer at this point. He's getting +1 air, double Stargate Void Ray, and there's the robotics facility. So, Armani, we have to ask the question. The Queen Moot will convene, and Brenda will let us know. Is it time? No! There is still not a consensus. It looks like a 4th base will be taken, and Armani, a bold move, will be macroing it out. I don't know what happened to the Oracle. Did it just fly in and die? Yes. I don't know if this is intentional, but he hid the Spore Crawler a bit with the Overlords there, which is kind of an old school tactic, but occasionally works. So, as I said, Zest will get Void Rays, more Void Rays, and then everything else. And here's the everything else, which is a 4th Nexus, a 3rd Stargate, a Fleet Beacon, a Robotics Bay. Can I get some upgrades in the Twilight and 6 more Gate Zest? He usually has the money for it somehow. I don't know how, but doing a little bit of Void Ray Micro. A couple carriers on the way. He's just skipping right to the end. The Robo Bay means we'll have an option for disruptors, which are, since the queens are, not my words, but I quote, dummy thick, the disruptor hitbox is very likely to clip a significant amount of them, and that makes it difficult to execute the Queen Walk build. That's why disruptors have become the most common option. Oh, he just lights up the Void Rays, melts an Overseer, and gets out. A little bit of damage on a single Void Ray. Now, filling in the blanks, cannons. Zest is at 72 probes. Armani, to his credit, or demise, is gonna play it out. He's got infestors on the way. So, there's a special stew here. There's a special sauce. There's a lot of ingredients that you need in order to defeat the Golden Armada. This is the struggle for Zerg. Now, a lot of Zergs have different opinions on how many infestors, how many queens. Do you need Vipers? A lot of people say yes, not all. Corruptors, what are they good for? Absolutely something? Maybe? No? I don't... We'll have to see, as there's +1 air carapace on the way. It's been essentially a no-rush game, besides Zest with some casual murders and the overhanging sword of Sky Toss on Armani. So, recently, we've seen a lot of mass Corruptor play, but a lot of the time, if you get enough Corruptors, what ends up happening is you clear out the carriers, and then they warp in half a dozen Archons and 20 Stalkers, and you have nothing to deal with it. Here, Armani is avoiding that. In fact, not building any Corruptors, instead putting all the spellcasters together. The trifecta of abilities. Infestors, Queens, and Vipers. A lot to do, but if he can pull it off, then Zest with, well, is there Storm? There is no Storm. Templar for feedback are obviously helpful, but Zest is not really holding on to very many Templar, and by that I mean he has none. So no feedback. This army is quite vulnerable to what Armani has put together. Zest is not as complex here. But he does have a lot of dangerous units, and now we're maxed out. 9.5 minutes in. It's time to fight. Gonna drop the disruptors. First fungal comes through. Corrosive Bowels missed the mark. Zest is looking for an opportunity to drop those disruptors out. He finds it. Doesn't have the shots. Charslot's on the right. The Spore and Spine Forest will ward him off, and Armani is prepared. I guarantee you he plays against this all day. What level of success? We're probably about to find out. The Ruptors on the front line, but they can still fire. Looking for it. Clips a few queens. Only one more disruptor in the mix. Multiple Vipers. Throws parasitic bombs. Oh, disruptor shot onto the infestors. 1-1 is done. Banelings close the distance. Corrosive Biles doing their best. The shields are stripped away from the carriers, but Zest, finally, a microbial shroud to reduce the damage from the air, and the carriers themselves might be able to be targeted. The knitting crew sews together a defense, but at what cost? As Zest, with a handful of charge lots, Armani's attention, not surprisingly, elsewhere, as the charge lots slip through and eviscerate the mineral line. Down to 61 drones is Armani. He can replace them. He's now getting corruptors to knock out the rest of the carriers. He's cleaned up the charge lots here. But at what cost? Well, he lost 1,000 more minerals, but Zest lost 1,200 or so more gas. He lost a bunch of Void Rays, Archons, Disruptors. Armani so far, with a capable defense, it's not so much a slight slip up there, losing all that. Oh my god, shield battery overcharge. Doing its best, and its best is, yep, get over here. Well, that's happening. Meanwhile, he's killing the base. Armani, does he have the critical mass to bring down Zest? The charge lots at the front, but the banelings crashing through. Another carrier down. The corruptor count is thinning out. Zest with a few stalkers. Another round of zealots to hold the line. Another carrier down, but 2 will remain, and there's no more anti-air. The zealots holding the pylons at the front. The door, for now, is held. Microing zealots in and out of a prism. Zest is just barely holding on. And if he hadn't done that economic damage to Armani on the other side, if he hadn't killed 20 drones, Armani was able to replenish his army immediately, he could be looking at a defeat. But as it stands, Zest holds, and a surprisingly even exchange. Wow. Armani has been several hundred minerals and gas more cost effective. He's actually drawn that even there. But Zest still has 4 bases. He can continue to craft his Sky Toss composition accordingly. He hasn't even hinted at Storm. He hasn't begun the upgrade whatsoever. He's built Flux Veins, I was going to say, for no Void Rays, but he has built a few more Voids. Banelings rolling in to the third. Zest can't afford to lose too many probes here. We'll hold on for now. 3 probes down. Armani back up to 86 drones. Corruptors spotted by an observer that probably should be sniped off if possible. 3 Archons make the Corruptor's life a lot more difficult. There are more than enough to snipe off what Zest has in the sky, but the Archons angrily below. They don't have much range, but they have enough. So Zest now has +3 air weapons and is getting started on, well, he has +1 shields as well. So those air weapons are going to cut through the Carapace upgrades. Still, having 1 or 2 Templar could be incredibly helpful for Zest. He does agree. Thank you. And we'll start Storm. I meant more for feedback, but Storm's also good. Both sides remaxing. Armani, this time, a lot heavier on the Corruptors. Zest mixing in the Templar. And those Vipers need to back off. They see the Templar because the Corruptors are slightly faster. Another wave of Banelings. 1 good round of Banes could severely hamper Zest's economy. But remember, every time a Baneling attacks, it dies. Oh, Armani's killing his own roaches in order to free up supply for Broodlords. We've made it to this stage. He doesn't have that much gas in the bank. Yeah, Banelings are not free either. At some point, these Baneling not even counterattacks, really just roll-bys. Oh, they don't even have +2 attack. Oh, Zest! Zest! You know, without +2 attack, honestly, 4 banelings cost more than 5 probes. So Zest said, what are you gonna do? Attack me? And he did, and now Zest comes out ahead. 1 Void Ray caught, but a lot of damage from a single Archon hit. This is the hardest part now. The Templar with feedback and Storm. Zest actually kind of bungling this a bit. He's desperately trying to deal with the rocks. Now he's gonna lose a Prism with Templar, or is he losing it as he lands the Storm on the ground and air armies? Unfortunately, does not disable the Prism, just makes it very uncomfortable. And now half the army is softened up. Meanwhile, a bunch of charged lots just kind of back off on the left side. Broodlord's getting involved, the big fight. Here it is. Feedbacks on the back line. Archons all over the place. Broodlord forced to back off. Infestors finally joining the fray. Feedbacks on the queens. Everyone needs a Red Bull, but nobody's getting sponsored by it. Right now, Zest he doesn't even need carriers. He has like 12 Archons. And the Archons do a bonus damage to everything Armani has. It appears the Archons are actually the winning move. Armani tried to craft his anti-air army. He tried to defend, but Zest just punches through with power overwhelming. Game 1, a valiant attempt by Armani. He had a good shot of dealing with the Sky Toss, but Zest, before you even know it, so smooth as he comfortably transitions into Archons and wipes the floor and the creep with what Armani has left over. Not looking good for the challenger, but that's why we play more than one game, so Zest can continue to roll over him. Game 2! Zest not... Oh, he sent out a probe already. Zest sends out a probe so fast that I didn't even realize without looking at the mini-map. We jumped in before the first pylon. The probe's halfway across the map. You do not... The only bases you're allowed to take as a Zerg player are your third or their natural. That's it. Those are the options. And their natural is depending on if they actually block it as well. Well, Armani goes for his third. This is just the life you lead as a Zerg player. Some people describe Zerg as getting bullied throughout your entire childhood and then hoping you grow up and become strong enough to punch the bullies back in the face. Some people have described it as that before. As much of the early and mid game does feel like getting run around by probes and Reapers and Hellions and Void Rays and Oracles and Adepts and Liberators and Banshees and Medevacs and Widowmines and Marines and Marauders and Blink Stalkers and... Okay, that's not a real threat. Nobody goes Blink Stalkers. Let's stop being ridiculous here. Okay, that nobody goes Blink first. I bet Zest could get away with it, but... It's been a while since we've seen a Blink opener. Mostly because it's countered by Zerglings, whereas it is one of the few things Zerglings do actually counter in the early game. Alright. What's it gonna be, Zest? I don't know. A Stargate? Wow. Really just digging deep for this one. A Stargate build out of Zest. Next thing you know, he's gonna try Void Rays. And then more Void Rays. And then eventually, yada yada yada, Archons. Though, it looked like Zest is one of the players who will happily transition to a ground army. Like, he's already got it ready. Somehow he finds the money. In fact, he usually has too much money. That's just his his power, all right? He has had so many unspent resources for so many games. He's created, he's grown interest that he can use in other games, I assume, is why he usually has like 1,200 minerals in the bank. Adept. Mocking the queen. Mocking another queen and just shades away, saying, I can move further in 5 seconds than you can move in a full minute. Does that seem fair? Do I care? It's an Oracle first. An Oracle first into... So, all right. I want to just... I don't have any idea where we're going because it's Zest, right? But I've seen some players try this, okay? And you know what happens with the Zergs? They're like, oh, thank God. Like, yes, he lost a few drones. Yes, the Oracle's annoying. But without the Void Ray there, it does feel like at least you have manageable options. It feels like when Protoss players get slightly ahead in a series, they finally get to experiment a little bit. And then, if it doesn't work out, you always can go back to the Void Rays, right? Anyways, we're back to the classics. Even further back. We got Adept Glaives. But Zest doesn't need upgrades to make his Adepts good. He'll just send his first 4 out because who's gonna stop him? Zerglings? He has an Oracle to protect them. Obviously, if he goes too deep with it, it's not ideal, but... Adept Glaives being, I assume, chronoed out. Indeed it is. Roachworn is on the way. So, Armani up to 45 drones, which is not an overwhelming number by any means, especially considering Zest is taking a third. Oh, that is one, Jimmy, run the numbers. 1 fuck ton of Adepts. Yeah. Alright. So, those are Adepts. They don't have Glaives, but Zest does not... Oh. Oh, this is unfortunate. Ah. Now, some people have described playing Zerg as just getting bullied throughout your entire childhood and hoping you survive long enough and become strong enough to hit back at the bullies. But, once again, other people have described it as that. And right now, to be honest, Armani, he's not dead. He did survive. So, that's key. That's a very important point. He's down 10 workers, and he's kind of stuck on Roach Lane. But Zest only has Adepts. He's adding on Blink, an Immortal, a Robotics Bay, obviously. Oh, there's no Spore in the main. I don't know if the Adepts killed it or it never existed, but either way. The Oracle just comes in, adding a little insult to this lasting emotional and physical injury. Armani left in this awkward spot where he doesn't have enough units to reliably attack, especially against someone with a Stargate, but he also doesn't have enough drones to continue producing. So he has to decide, am I going to pick a timing, or am I just going to try to defend the next one? And at this point, the decision is pretty much made for him. Really, Zest? You deserve this. He deserves this. A bit of a greedy stasis ward with the 4 HP Oracle. Armani at 55 drones is slamming out roaches and lings. Now that the Oracle is gone, we can at least have a little bit of privacy here. Zest gonna violate it with 3 hallucinated phoenixes. I'm not sure why this one is 3/4 of the way gone and only halfway across the map, Zest, but here we are. Somehow managing to scout almost nothing with these. He has not seen the army. He hasn't really gotten a bead on the unit count. Yeah, Zest actually saw... He's going to see 3 fully saturated bases, and mostly looking for a spire as well. So, doesn't see anything particularly dangerous, and expands to a 4th. So this is going on 4-base Protoss against a 3-base Zerg, who's been building units. It's 170 to 140 supply. There are Raptors. +1 on the way, and for Zest, and +1 already done for Armani. Is he gonna go? He's gotta go. He has to go. I think about it. Oh, he just saw the 4th. He just saw the 4th. Now's the time. Like, it's time. It's not gonna get any better for you. Zest is just gonna get closer and closer to 200. Oh, the Zealots are gonna kind of accidentally... He's willing to show the Zerglings. Armani trying to hide this, and he's managed to do so far. Zest obliges. He just walks out onto the map. Big attack into the 4th. Is he lining up a recall? Zest? Okay, Zest killing creep tumors, which doesn't really feel like the best use of his time, but he's decided he's going. Armani has successfully hidden his army for long enough that Zest feels obligated to base trade here. Armani's now maxed out. He's got enough units to break through. Down goes the Cyber Core. That could have consequences. Yeah, Zest is still going for that base trade. There's not that many units here, and Archon showing up to the party. They will be killed. We probably should see a recall momentarily. Zest is kind of like pretending he's not losing potentially multiple bases at home. Oh, the 4th wasn't dead. He's just casually cleared some creep, he killed a hatch, and now he's walking back across the map. Oh, this seems like a do the thing with the force field donut. Oh, but this is the worst position. He can't really drop the Raptors, fires a shot. Clips some Ravagers. Zest's still not really acknowledging that he's lost a whole lot of stuff at home. He just walks back. He's got some Blink Stalkers here. The most valuable Prism right now. The MVP. Losing probes. Disruptors on cooldown. Zest, oh, there's a shot. Gets targeted. Another shot. Oh, that's a juicy... Well, wasn't great, actually. Meanwhile, he's losing every probe at his natural. Zest is... If I refuse to acknowledge that I'm dying, then I'm not. Zest with 1,900 gas in the bank. He does have a Templar Archives. He's now down... Well, the worker count is kind of even just because Armani got beat up on the other side so much. Alright, so that's a lot of Ravagers. The full shotgun spread of Corrosive Bile. And Zest will not die, as he's gonna go do some Disruptor drop harass, and then takes a look at his gas for the first time in, like, 3 minutes. Like, I feel like that Disruptor is maybe needed at home. Zest does not, though. Who am I to say? He is the Super Tournament champion. Armani coming in with, like, a whole lot of roaches here. Is battery overcharge on cooldown? It's not. He's not using it. He can use it. He's not using it. There it is, on the back battery. The Disruptor, is it off? Oh my god, the juicy hit. Decent one. Alright. Stalkers, not great. Gonna juggle some Archons, then walk into the other one. Yeah, and Zest taps it out. Armani gonna stumble through a victory despite the prospect of defeat looming on either side. A lot really came together there for Armani to take that home, but indeed he does. So wow. Zest just kind of playing a different game in that one. That does not bode well. He must have slipped his jacket back on between the matches or something. Yeah, the bully. So, like they say, that which doesn't kill you leaves you permanently traumatized and forced into a narrow path for the rest of your relatively short life, hoping and praying that it's the right one and knowing you don't have a choice. And with that, Game 3. Zest, bumbling his way through a Oracle Adept Glaives. You know, anyways, so moral of the story, kids, don't build Blink Stalkers. The takeaway from this is Blink Stalkers not cutting it. There we are. Thank you, Armani. Thank you. I do appreciate your commitment. Finally, someone willing to take the fight to Zest. Now, this is gonna get weird. What is Armani? Oh, he's gonna put. It's a spy. Wait, what? Why is this pool so late? Why is this drone here? Why are any of us here? Zest is taking a look around. He missed a key point here. There's one important point he's missing. It's a large point. Bit of an exclamation mark on this one. And... well, here we go. Alright, so I haven't seen this one in quite a bit. Actually, the pool's timed out perfectly. I'm a noob. There it is. Spine crawler. The probe comes back out like, yep, that is indeed a hatchery. Okay. So this feels like the type of game that Zest thrives on. He just doesn't get to play very often. A couple more drones. The probe, the worker fight. Meanwhile, the drone, okay. Spine crawlers. The backbone of the push coming together. I'm surprised the Zealot doesn't commit any further. A handful of Zerglings to box out. The quadruple spine giraffe migration push. Zest's gonna counter with cannons. He's got the potential for shield batteries for now, but the cyber core is pretty exposed here. Oh, the Stalker, actually the one in the wall, which makes it slightly more vulnerable. Well, the spine crawler can hit the cyber core. The cyber core, an important piece of this puzzle. We're not even pretending like it's gonna research Warp Gate. I think that ship has sailed before it even set out of the dock. Another spine moving up. The battle continues. Spine crawler taking a lot of damage. Gotta micro that back. Transfuse. What a save! And the cyber core with no shields. Will we see a battery overcharge into reshield? Oh, it's too late. The spines slapping their way through. Their impaler tentacles. Yes, that's the real name of the attack. Just bashing into the gateway. Armani, ready and poised to stream into the breach. 2 cannons, though. He's boxing out for the spine crawlers. Another gate down. That was the last gateway. 1 spine crawler backs off. Another one's killed. And Armani says, that's it. Okay, well I guess it was a cool try. But I guess he's not getting through those cannons, is what he thinks. So, that was the whole plan. Well, yeah, it's 16 drones. Zest has 2 bases, and you're not killing those cannons with 3 shield batteries. Well, I really wish Zest didn't just sit there, like, with sipping on his iced tea or whatever, with iced tea with vodka, of course. Like, this noob thinks this is a strategy. Doesn't he know that I was born in the cheese? Except he doesn't say any of that because, man, a few words, of course. Amateurs. Well, 2-1 Zest. I cannot blame Armani for trying there. But here we are. Match point for the Magic Man. Armani still stuck with the one game he managed to sneak away. Zest probe across the map. Honestly, I'm rooting for Armani. Even though I am, like everyone, a Zest fan. I think most people are obligated to be Zest fans. I think you can root for his opponents, though, because even when Zest loses, those are some of the best games. For maybe not in StarCraft skill, but instead in their unique properties. Yeah, checking diligently for hatcheries as he... I'm not sure what's convinced him this game it's not a proxy hatch. He's like, I simply count the drones. And I can... And if he's missing a drone, it must be a proxy hatch. I actually... He's not scouting for it at all this game, so... He hasn't seen the third. So... We'll see if he looks around the natural. But otherwise, like... It's possibly like he won't do it again. Otherwise, I'm not actually sure what he saw. There's a small chance he saw the drone going to the third and he's convinced that was the drone. But there were 2 drones last time. Wow. Either he doesn't care, or he just... I choose to believe Zest just has made the assessment that Armani simply does not have sufficient balls to do that. He's like, that was bold of you last game. That's enough. All right. He's probably counting the drones, which seems ridiculous, but there's not that many. Well, he's going to, for the first time, he scouts the creep. Yeah, that's the first time he's seeing it. He moves away immediately. Adept out. Where are you going? It's like, this is... What? Oh, he's trying to bait the lings! Some probably too advanced mind games here. He wants the lings to try to come by, and he was trying to dodge the OV with the adept in order to convince the lings that the way was open, and then trap them. But Armani, keeping the lings tucked in safely at home. It's the little thing. And then the Void Ray will brutally murder the Overlord, which has no defense but to float away at the slowest speed of any flying thing in the game. Yes, even slower than lifted buildings for Terran. I mean, they have engines, so... Zest shades away with the Adept. And he will escape. Taking a third. An Oracle? What's the follow-up? Here's the tell. In a moment. What's it gonna be, Zest? He's spending his minerals constantly. Ah, plus... Okay, here's the... I'm sorry, here's the tell. +1 air weapons. There's a small chance that's a fake. Very small. Because players will start the +1 air so that it looks like the Cyber Core's upgrading, so it looks exactly like 2 Stargate Void Ray. But it also could just be 2 Stargate Void Ray. And indeed it is. Oh my god. He made the call that tucked up against the minerals was better than being next to the pylon, because you get surrounded less. Just a little mineral pocket. Yes. 2 Zerglings will survive, but another Adept is warped in, and that's the end of that. What are you doing? Wait, is this gonna work? Oh my god. Oh, are you kidding me? Oh my god. No, don't come back in. Get the fuck out of here. Yeah, what the... No. Get out of here, Zest. Come on, you greedy bastard. Oh my god, I can't believe he came back in. You already got 3 queens and 3 drones. It's like, looks like the door's open. Oh, finally, vengeance for Brenda. Revenge tastes sweet, but also slightly bitter. Very bitter, actually. Like, particularly terrible whiskey. Which is probably what it tastes like for everything, Zerg, because of the creep getting into everything. I imagine creep tastes like warm battery acid. Which, unironically, is also what whiskey tastes like, so... Get to the comments. You might not have an opinion on balance, but I bet some of you boomers have an opinion on whiskey, so at least I know my audience. Wow, this is a lot of... that. He just rushed carriers. That's it. He's a 3 Stargate carrier at the 6-minute mark. It's just carriers. That's his army, is carriers. And because Armani wasn't able to... Well, actually, what is slowing him down from doing a queen walk? He hasn't even thought about the queen walk. He's gonna macro it out. It feels like we tried this. It feels like we already tried this one. How it feels is that Zerg players will try to fight the Sky Toss once in a series. Everyone has to take their shot, and most of the time, it doesn't land. Some players, like Dark, is a possibly not great, but also a good example. Rogue, Cyril, they make it work, and they put that win on the board. And they put a little hesitation in the minds of the Protoss before they slap down the fleet beacon. But some Protoss don't care. And some, like... Well, it's too late to do a queen all-in now. It's more just like a monarchy build as opposed to any sort of all-in. And we'll have to see if Armani survives the feudal age. Alright, Brenda! Why are there... How is this so small? It's the middle of the map. Shut up, Susan! Shut up, we're walking! Up, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Is that how many carriers Carriers? Oh, wow, that is. There are 6 carriers. Well done. Good counting. How did you know? So, Armani actually has as much anti-carrier as he could ever have. What am I watching? Zest, as usual, is just in a random location on the map. The queens are I don't know why Zest is out here, but the queens are on the 3rd. Not doing much because, I mean... well, this is, he's gonna use the caustic spray to force the issue. Is Zest going to care? Well, there are 4 non-charged lots. There are non-charged lots all over the place. The Nexus dies. He doesn't even have a Twilight. So, Zest recalls to his 4th. Unfortunately, queens can't recall back to their own 4th. This is creating a bit of an issue. The attack is a success, I think. Well, here we are. We're fighting again, this time in a more typical fashion. The queen count is still quite high, and the corruptors are being healed up as they poke in. Armani is rallying across. The Corruptors. The Queens are counter. This is, it's pure Queen Corruptor. And without any Robo or Twilight units, it might be enough. Alright, the Corruptors burning through with the Void Rays. The Queen's exhausting everything on Transfuse. The Carrier's still going to work. They got +2 air weapons. The Zealot's gonna make things complicated. Oh, no. Well, it wasn't clear, and then it was. Not enough. That was about as pure anti-carrier as you could get. Queen Corruptor, but just did not have... So, here's the difference between Zest and your average Protoss. Is Zest doesn't care if he loses his third. It's not the end of the world. He's not gonna panic. He might not even notice. He knows when to win. All right. It's an instinct. It's just ingrained. I don't know how to copy it. If I could, I'd distill it and sell it. But to all you whiskey fans out there, probably. But 3-1 Zest. Armani took his shot. He got that one game, which was the one non-Void Ray game. Make your own opinions. Like, subscribe, ring the bell, all of that exciting stuff. Thank you for watching. I'll see you next time. Stay chill.